They were freed on the day India was celebrating 75 years of its independence. There was jubilation and celebration for these 11 men being freed from prison after spending 15 years behind bars. They are the convicts of Bilkis Bano's gang rape and killing of 7 of her family members in the aftermath of the 2002 Godhra riots. One of the convicts released a video professing innocence.
અમે નિર્દોષ હોવા છતાં ખાલી વિચારધારામાં બિલીવ કરવાના કારણે અમારા ખોટી રીતે નામ આપવામાં આવ્યા હતા અને એના કારણે અમને આજીવન કેદની સજા કરવામાં આવી હતી.
At the Vishwa Hindu Parishad's Godhra office on 15th August 2022, 2 decades after the heinous crime, they became the heroes befitting of garlanded welcome backs in the free society. Their release was approved by the Gujarat Govt based on recommendations of the Prison Advisory Committee. The panel had 2 BJP MLAs as its members in addition to other officials. Gujarat Govt officials had claimed the release was based on the state's 1992 remission policy. India today has accessed the 1992 policy document. According to it, convicts can be released only after completing 14 years of imprisonment. To be considered to be freed, the convict's conduct inside prison has to be good. This has to be recommended by the jail IG. If the convict meets both conditions, the Jail Advisory Committee recommends whether the convict should be released or not. Bilkis Bano's family is shaken. After many requests by India Today, her husband met us away from his workplace and home.
14 लोगों को मारा गया है. उनके बारे में हम रोज याद करते हैं, रोज उनके लिए दुआ करते हैं. उसमें मेरी 3 साल की बेटी जो है, उनके लिए भी हम उनकी आत्मा को शांति मिलेगी.
Yaqub says the government never consulted them before taking the decision to waive the convict sentence, and now he fears for his family's safety.
कुछ तो है, डर है, लेकिन इस तरह का जो मामला आया है तो हमको तो थोड़ा बहुत तो डर ज्यादा ही है.
Gopal Singh Solanki, who represented the convicts in the court battle, sees nothing wrong in letting off the rape and murder convicts.
ये जो सजा माफ की गई है, उसमें कोई गलत नहीं है. 2 भाई थे, 2 ब्रदर्स, 2 भाई एक साथ में किसी के साथ रेप नहीं कर सकते, एक बात है. दूसरा, फादर एंड सन कांट रेप टुगेदर. और दूसरा, जेल में होने के बाद हर कोई एक्यूज जो तोहमतदार होता है, उसके लिए उनकी एंटीसीडेंट देखी जाती है, कैरेक्टर देखा जाता है. और 11 साल में उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया. अनटूवर्ड इंसिडेंट इनके सामने ऐसी कोई एटीट्यूड भी इनका एंटीसीडेंट ऐसा नहीं था कि उनके अगेंस्ट में जावे, कोई जेल में तूफान किया हो, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ है.
All 11 of them were convicted of gang rape of then pregnant 21-year-old Bilkis Bano, her mother and 2 other women. The murder of 14 people, including 7 members of Bilkis Bano's family. The victims were fleeing the riots in Radhikapur village when they were ambushed on 3rd March 2002. Samir Gachi, along with his 3 sisters, 2 brothers and an entire family of 12, left Radhikapur village and migrated to his uncle's place in Rahimabad colony of Devgadbaria after the riots of 2002. He sells vehicles today, trying to rebuild his life. But the remission and release of the 11 convicts and their boast of innocence has shaken his world once again.
અને આજે એ લોકો રંધીકપુરમાં બિંદાસ ખુલ્લેઆમ ફરી રહ્યા છે અને એક ડરનો માહોલ પેદા કરી દીધો. અને રંધીકપુર ગામમાંથી કેટલાય મુસ્લિમ પરિવારો ગામ છોડીને જતા રહ્યા અને ખુલ્લામાં એ લોકો આજે ફરી રહ્યા છે. તો અમે એ અપેક્ષા માટે અહીંયા આવ્યા છે.
Samir is not alone. There are others in this colony who live in fear of reruns of those black days of 2002. 55 of them have signed a letter and submitted to Dahod collector demanding all 11 convicts be jailed again to serve justice to Bilkis Bano.
કલેક્ટર સાહેબને રજૂઆત કરવા માટે કે અમને ન્યાય મળે, બિલ્કિસ બાનુને બી ન્યાય મળે એ અપરાધીઓને, એ બલાત્કારીઓને કે જેમણે એક જઘન્ય અપરાધ કર્યો એવા અપરાધીઓને ફરી જેલમાં પૂરે એવી અમે અપેક્ષા રાખીએ છીએ.
Presiding over the trial in 2008, Justice Salvi, then special judge in the Mumbai City Civil and Sessions Court, had convicted the men to life. While observing Bilkis's deposition, he had detailed her fight as courageous.
So in such crime, one should be very careful in granting remission. One should consider all the aspects of it, and particularly more, one should consider the object of the punishment. I would say, I feel from the conduct of the accused that they accepted the felicitation. They should not have. Therefore, they have no remorse about this. Therefore, it's all shocking. It's not the felicitation alone, but remission also comes into question.
Over 6,000 citizens, including grassroots workers and human rights activists, have urged the Supreme Court to revoke the remission of sentences for 11 men convicted of rape and murder in the 2002 case. Demanding that the remission be revoked, the citizens stated that the early release of these murderers and rapists only strengthens the impunity of those who commit acts of violence against women. The Supreme Court agreed to hear the petition challenging the remission of 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano case. On Thursday, the top court issued a notice to the Gujarat government to file its response in the matter and asked the petitioners to make the 11 convicts party to the case. The matter will be taken up for hearing again after 2 weeks. The CJI questioned the exception in remission and stated that the 11 convicts will be made a party to the case.
The rules were not followed, neither the central government was consulted, nor the judge who had issued the judgment was consulted. So that is what the point of the petition was, an important point in the petition. This is such a big case with such ramifications that I think that is why the Supreme Court admitted it. This is a question of human rights, of humanity, and what kind of thinking is behind remission of this kind. Certainly the central government should have intervened by now.
Supreme Court was very candid enough at the time of argument that what was such a big wrong when a remission has been granted, because court had only ordered that their cases should be considered for remission. And if the remission was granted, what was such a big deal, because every day in, day out, the people are released on remission. So court was prima facie not inclined, but still they had issued notice, so we will file our appropriate reply to in this case. How can they attack on a remission order without even seeing the order? How can they make grounds in the writ petition without seeing the remission order? So this was very speculative writ petition which was filed in Supreme Court, and that too by a third party, a political outfit. So in any case, court has implemented us as party respondent in this case, and we will file our appropriate reply in this case also.
Bilkis Bano's lawyer, after going through the petition, has confirmed the possibility of a petition by Bilkis before the apex court.
The PIL petitioners always have certain limitations, and unfortunately these petitions also suffer. Like they have not been able to raise all the issues which we want to. So maybe if not more petitions are coming and adding all those issues, and if something is leaving outside, we would certainly be then chipping in, filing a substantial petition, not becoming party by way of impleadment. But yes, there are issues which have to be brought in before the court, that in these circumstances these orders were passed, and what all has been brought before you, and what all had to be looked into.
Okay, so you're going to look at that.
I am of the firm belief that there are so many things, in all fairness, you know, for the judges also, things have to be brought before them.
Okay, so you, in all probabilities, Bilkis might make a legal move before that.
In all probability, yes.
On 3rd March 2002, Bilkis Bano was 21 years old, mother of a 3.5-year-old daughter and 5 months pregnant. She, along with her daughter Saleha and 15 other family members, fled their village Radhikapur in Dahod district in Gujarat on 28th February of 2002. They fled in the aftermath of the burning of the Sabarmati Express in Godhra, resulting in the deaths of dozens of pilgrims and car sevaks returning from Ayodhya. Communal violence erupted throughout Gujarat. They fled, fearing a rerun of the arson and looting that had taken place in their village on the occasion of Bakrid a few days previously. 3 days after they left their village, they reached Chaparwad. According to the charge sheet, they were attacked by about 20 to 30 people armed with sickles, swords and sticks. Among the attackers were the 11 accused men, later convicted and now freed through remission. Bilkis Bano, her mother and 3 other women were raped and brutally assaulted on 3rd March. Her daughter Saleha was also brutally murdered by the assailants. Of the 17-member group of Muslims from Radhikapur village, 8 were found dead, 6 missing. Only Bilkis, a man and a 3-year-old survived the attack. Bilkis remained unconscious for at least 3 hours after the attack. After she regained consciousness, she borrowed clothes from an Adivasi woman and met a home guard who took her to the Limkheda police station. She registered a complaint with Head Constable Soma Bhai Gori, who according to the CBI suppressed material facts and wrote a distorted and truncated version of her complaint. Bilkis was taken to a public hospital for medical examination only after she reached the Godhra relief camp. Her case was taken up by the National Human Rights Commission and Supreme Court, which ordered an investigation by the CBI. The Central Bureau of Investigation concluded that the post-mortem examination was carried out shoddily in order to protect the accused. CBI investigators exhumed the bodies of those killed in the attack and said that none of the 7 bodies had skulls. According to the CBI, the heads of the corpses had been severed after the autopsy so that the bodies could not be identified. Bilkis Bano received several death threats. The trial was moved out of Gujarat to Maharashtra. In the Mumbai court, charges were filed against 19 men, including 6 police officers and a government doctor. In January 2008, a special court convicted 11 accused of conspiring to rape a pregnant woman, murder, unlawful assembly, and of charges under other sections of the Indian Penal Code. The head constable was convicted of making incorrect records to save the accused. 7 persons were acquitted by the court, citing lack of evidence. 1 person died during the course of the trial. The court held that Jaswant Bhai Nai, Govind Bhai Nai, and by then deceased Naresh Kumar Mordia had raped Bilkis. Shailesh Bhatt killed her daughter Saleha by smashing her on the ground. Others who were convicted are Radhe Shyam Shah, Bipin Chandra Joshi, Kesar Bhai Vohania, Pradeep Vohania, Baka Bhai Vohania, Raju Bhai Soni, Nitesh Bhatt, Ramesh Chandana and Head Constable Soma Bhai Gori. Despite being bystanders to the crime, these accused were convicted of rape and murder as being part of an unlawful assembly distributes the liability of the crime, is what the court observed. All 11 convicts were sentenced to life imprisonment by the court. In May 2017, the Bombay High Court upheld the conviction and life imprisonment of 11 people in the gang rape case and set aside the acquittal of 7 people, including the policemen and doctors. In April 2019, the Supreme Court directed the Gujarat government to give 50 lakh rupees as compensation to Bilkis within 2 weeks. She had refused to accept the compensation of 5 lakh rupees and had sought exemplary compensation from the state government in a plea before the top court.
हमारे गांव में जाने के लिए सोच रहे हैं लेकिन हमको डर लगता है।
इतने सालों बाद भी अभी भी डर लगता है।
अभी भी डर तो है कि हमारे परिवार में शादियां होती हैं तो भी हम नहीं जा पाते, कोई मैयत हो गया हो तो भी हम नहीं जा पाते। 15 साल में हमको बहुत दुख झेलना पड़ा। घर बदला, कितनी बार घर बदला हमने और छोटे छोटे बच्चे को लेके सामान इधर उधर करो, बहुत सारी तकलीफें हमको हुई है।
लेकिन अभी भी आप कहती हैं आपको बदला नहीं चाहिए था, आप नहीं चाहती थी कि जिन्होंने ये किया आपके खिलाफ उन पर आप बदले की भावना से नहीं कर रहे थे, आपको केवल न्याय चाहिए था।
हाँ, न्याय चाहिए।
यानी क्या चाहिए था कि ये लोग जेल में रहें,
हाँ।
इनको सजाए मौत हो, क्या चाहिए था?
वो लोग जेल में रहे, उनको ऐसा याद आवे कि आज हमारे गांव के लोग कितने परेशान थे और हमने कैसे कैसे मारा है माँ बहनों को, बच्चे को।
In May 2022, one of the convicts, after serving 15 years in prison, appealed in the Supreme Court for early release. The Apex Court issued a notice to the Gujarat government and the centre. The remission order is yet to be made public. Neither the convicts nor the lawyers of Bilkis have received it. The Gujarat government's decision to grant remission to these convicts has also sparked a political debate as well as one on social responsibility. The state assembly election is due by the end of this year.
रेप कन्विक्ट्स, बलात्कार के अभियुक्त, उनको आपने रिहा कर दिया कि 14 साल हो गए हैं, इनका कंडक्ट अच्छा है जेल में, और नेचर ऑफ क्राइम, ये 3 पैरामीटर्स की जो रिहा हुए हैं उनकी आरती उतारी जा रही है, उनको तिलक किया जा रहा है, दे आर बीइंग फेलिसिटेटेड।
गुजरात का चुनाव जीतने के लिए भाजपा की सरकार ने पूरे देश के उन मुस्लिम महिलाओं का अपमान किया जिनका रेप हुआ है। बिल्किस बानो को सिर्फ मुसलमान होने के चश्मे से मत देखिए, ये एक इंसाफ का मुद्दा है और हम भारत सरकार से, प्रधानमंत्री से डायरेक्ट हम ये डिमांड करते हैं कि उनका जो रिलीज ऑर्डर है उसको कैंसिल करके उन तमाम को जेल को भिजाया जाए।
From within, BJP leaders have joined in on the chorus against the remission order.
बिल्किस बानो प्रकरण इथे आणण्याचं काही कारण नव्हतं, पण साधारण ते आरोपी जे आहेत त्या आरोपींची जवळपास 20 वर्षाची काय सजा होती, ती सजा भोगून त्यांची सुटका त्या ठिकाणी, का 20 वर्षाची का 14 वर्षाची जी काय असेल ती सजा भोगून त्यांची त्या ठिकाणी सुटका झाली आहे। सुप्रीम कोर्टाच्या आदेशाने या ठिकाणी सुटका झाली आहे। पण कुठलेही आरोपी असतील आणि ते सुटल्यानंतरही जर त्यांनी कोणी त्यांचा सत्कार करत असेल, स्वागत करत असेल तर चुकीचं आहे। आरोपी हा आरोपी आहे, त्यामुळे अशा प्रकारे त्याचं समर्थन हे या ठिकाणी करता येत नाही।
And this is what is not acceptable to me. And here I voice my opinion. I don't know if it's against my party line. I have seen a couple of my senior leaders actually speaking against it. I have seen Mr. Fadnavis speaking against it. I've seen a couple of other leaders speaking against it. But here, as a woman, I say what has happened to Bilkis Bano is not justified and it's not acceptable by me as a woman of this progressive country called India, where we have a prime minister who speaks about Nari Shakti and who talks about Beti Bachao Andolan every now and then.
On the other hand, celebrities have also come out asking for justice for Bilkis Bano.
I come from a family of freedom fighters. Who fought alongside Mahatma Gandhi and were jailed for the freedom of this country. We're talking about personal freedom, human rights. My family, my mother, my grandmother, we've all fought for women's rights for decades. And then you have a situation where the most heinous, brutal crime is committed. And rapists are walking free. They are being garlanded. On Independence Day is when they're set free from prisons. I mean, for me, I'm just looking at Prime Minister Modi giving his 75th, speech, talking about how we should view women differently, how we should, give them a space of dignity in our country. And the very same day, you have a BJP MLA, Mr. Raulji, calling them sanskari Brahmins. There's something seriously wrong with the governance of this country, the laws of this country, and the reaction of the population of our country. There has not been a mass outrage as there should be. That has also hit home. Does it have to happen to your mother, to your sister, or your daughter for you to react and respond and show outrage in this country?
The contrast between the reaction of the people as it should be in the Nirbhaya case, the silence in the Hathras and Unnao cases, and now the jubilation is terrifying. I think it is terrifying for every single Indian. It is not only terrifying for women, it is terrifying for every one of us. And we must get up, and if the judiciary and the governments behave this way, then the people have to raise their voice and make them change their mind. It is unthinkable.
Justice to all is so important for security in India. And this, once again, reminds me that people are not safe in India, because it depends on what the political system plans for you, that you are then thrust under. I mean, how is it acceptable that an innocent girl this is just one case. There are hundreds and thousands of cases like this in Gujarat that happened. This is one example. How did we allow it, and why are those rapists, irrespective of caste, class, religion, why are they set free? They are murderers. They're not just rapists. There was a mob frenzy. There was a go slow. People had a field day. I mean, it's, as a woman, as an activist, as a person who loves India, this is unacceptable.